Well, good evening, everyone. We're breaking in to let you know we have a new tornado warning that has been issued now for Spartanburg County now. So let's go on over and show you the latest with that cell as it makes its way through. This tornado warning goes until 7 o'clock, and this does include the city of Spartanburg as this line of thunderstorms makes its way on off towards the north and east here. This line of storms just making its way north of the Woodruff area at this time here. And I'm going to stop the radar here, give you an idea. We'll switch over to the velocity, and you can see kind of the area that we're most concerned about here as this makes its way on off towards the north and east here, just to the east of Reedville, just south of the Fairmount area there. We're seeing that potential couplet showing up across the region here. And again, as you can see, we've got, again, that area of that right here, where you see this little twisting showing up just to the west of 290 there, just south of Fairmount. This is lifting north and east, so it'll cross over 26. It'll cross over Arcadia Heights there as well, and eventually potentially move towards at least the northern portions of downtown Spartanburg. So we've got to watch that closely. But you can kind of see here where we've got kind of this little bit of a couplet showing up here right around 290. So let me go over here and adjust the radar. And again, and I can show you, get in a little closer here to give you an idea of where this cell is going to be making its way on in. And again, you can see here, this cell here, this couplet now right along 417. This is just off towards the east of Willowbank Landing there, just south of Bailey Road. So folks, just south of Bailey Road, watching out for that. This cell continues to make its way on off towards the north and east here at about 35 miles per hour or so. So let me go and put a track on this for you here, give you a heads up of where this cell will be heading. Here, let me adjust the radar for you, and we're going to track this out here a little better for you. And you can see that little couplet is what we're going to track where that potential tornado is at about 35 miles per hour. So folks around Poplar Spring Baptist Church over towards Anderson Mill Elementary School and near Pleasant Falls School there, that's where this tornado potentially is, basically right there near Poplar Springs Baptist Church. So if you know where that is, that's where the tornado potentially is now, and it will likely be moving towards Means Chapel, over towards Anderson Mill Elementary School, and Pleasant Falls School coming up here very shortly here. So let's clear that off here now and give you again a look here at the radar, because what you're looking at here on the radar, again, this is not one of those days where you see a clearly defined hook echo, what we like to show you, where we show you the hook and where the winds are going in and outside. You have to look very closely at this activity today because it's very low top, the actual thunderstorms here. So as we put on the wind shear product here, this takes everything away and just shows you where we're seeing that wind shear. And you can see it lines up very well with where that tornado couplet is at this moment here. And again, that tornado was located about 7 miles southwest of Spartanburg and about 4 miles west of Roebuck here, and it's moving northeast at 35 miles per hour here. So that means that it is going to be making its way into Spartanburg very shortly here. So let's put a new track on this for you. Update you on what we're looking at here as this lifts off towards the north here at about 35 miles per hour. Again, so Spartanburg, it'll be making its way towards you in the city around 7 o'clock. It'll be moving towards Mayo at 7:25. Gaffney, if it holds together, at about 7:45 and 7:56 there in the Avondale community. So again, all those folks there need to be in your tornado safety place or taking shelter now. Again, some of these storms, they don't look very impressive on radar today, but we have been getting some damage and some strong winds being reported as these storms are making their way off towards the north and east here. And again, areas right around Spartanburg, we want you to be aware that that potential is heading your way. Again, this is about 4 miles to the west of Roebuck right now, but it will continue to move off towards the northeast at about 35. So moving fairly quickly at this moment here. So let's go back to the velocity, and we could again show you here where that couplet is right now. And we'll go ahead and get you in a little closer here so you can see what we're meaning here. Again, we've got kind of two areas of rotation, but the one that we're most concerned about right now here is just to the west of Roebuck here, right along 417. So I'll outline that for you very closely here. This is the area of concern where that potential tornado would be right now, and it's lifting off towards the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So again, Fairmount over towards Haddon Crossroads, over towards the north and east from there as you get up towards Arkwright and eventually into downtown Spartanburg. Need to be aware this will be heading your way here over the next few moments. Again, we've been watching these storms as some of this wind energy continues to build up across the area. Again, not a lot of instability, but we do have a lot of twisting of the winds in the atmosphere, and we've got a lot of wind energy pushing in with this. And you can almost kind of see how the whole batch of rain that's moving through is taking on kind of that comma shape there, and that's just an indication of where that wind is continuing to wrap on up there. But again, let's go take you back in here to Spartanburg County where we've got that storm that we're concerned about that does have that tornado warning until 7 o'clock here. And again, we'll switch back over and show you the wind product because that's the easiest way to see exactly where we're watching out for right now. And that means we're taking our closer look here at what's going on right around 417 here. So this is now approaching the southeast side of Fairmount there as it moves off towards the north and east here fairly quickly there. So I'll go in even a little closer here, see if we can get down to street level, give you some ideas of what we're talking about. So folks over there between Emily Drive and Birdwell Place, this is basically where that potential tornado could be right now, right there between you folks on Emily Drive and Birdwell Place, and that's lifting off towards the north and east. So folks around Bailey Road, this will be moving your way any moment now into your neighborhood, and then eventually that will head up towards, let's see, Mueller Springs Drive, over towards Rexford Drive as well. Again, basically following along 417 as it moves towards the north there. So folks in those areas, on those streets, need to be taking shelter immediately as that storm, that couplet, is moving your way directly, and eventually it's going to be moving towards Wilton Ferry Road. So if you are living in that area, that part of the county there, you need to be in your tornado safety place. Again, we've got that potential tornado showing up here right now just to the east of Victory Lane, right along 417 as it continues to move off towards the north and east there at about 35 miles per hour. Again, as we take a look at our wind shear product, taking everything off but just the rotation and the wind shear in the atmosphere, and that lines up very well where we're seeing that potential couplet showing up on radar. So this is the direct area where that potential tornado will be. Again, now making its way towards the Wilson Ferry Road area. So keep that in mind, that you need to be, again, go down to your lowest level of your home, the most interior room. Bathrooms are always good as well. Get away from those outside walls and the windows, and make sure you take something to cover your head with, because most injuries and deaths and things like that occur when it comes to tornadoes because of the flying debris. It's not so much the winds picking you up, but it's the flying debris that tends to cause the most damage there. So keep that in mind and make sure that you're taking shelter. If you need to, turn the TV way up loud so you can hear, or hopefully you have the WYFF mobile app downloaded on your phone, and that way you can stream our coverage there live in case the power goes out as well. But that's the area that we're going to be kind of watching very closely here for you as we go throughout the next few moments here as that activity continues to lift on off towards the north and east here. So here's a look here at the latest on the radar, showing us now making its way north of Roebuck, looks like now, and moving more towards Boiling Springs and Spartanburg there. So in those areas, that's kind of where the new couplet is showing up here. Again, we'll go in a little closer here and show you here now north and west of Roebuck, over towards, let's see, it looks like around the Clevedale area here. This couplet is moving towards you now. So between there and the Haddon Heights area here, that looks to be where that couplet is showing up at its strongest right now. So I am going to just check something here on my end here to give a better idea, to make sure I'm in the right spot. And yeah, we still got a pretty decent couplet showing up here in that area there as it lifts on off towards the north and east here. So right now, this tornado is located now, looks like about 5 miles west of Spartanburg. So right there, as we mentioned earlier, near Welford, moving north at 30 miles per hour. So slowing down just a little bit now. And again, so I'll zoom out here and give you a better perspective so you can kind of see, again, here's where that potential couplet is, and right here, and you can see where Spartanburg is. Again, that's about 5 miles to your south and west right now. That's where that potential tornado is as it continues to lift on off towards the north and east. But all the folks in between all of that, they're from Calvert over towards Sixby, over towards Saxon, Lawson, Boiling Springs. You need to be in your safe place right now because this storm is moving north and east towards you as we speak here. But again, right now, the main area under the impacts of this currently is Clevedale, but Calvert over towards Sixby, this is going to be crossing near you right over 26 here very shortly as it continues to lift off towards the north and east fairly quickly as well here. So again, get in your tornado safety place as this potential tornado is on the ground here, at least radar indicated, as it continues to make its way on off towards the north and east. Again, looking at the wind shear, we're seeing that area that we're kind of watching, just checking for some debris signs here on our Live Super Doppler 4 HD. Nothing that is standing out at this moment, but we'll be watching kind of in this area right in here. We'll keep a close eye on that area to see if we see more drop out there because, again, that would be the area that we'd be kind of concerned about and watching. Now, our Live Super Doppler 4 early detection data is showing us here, again, that potential rotation with that that cell as it makes its way off towards the north and east. So again, heading towards the folks there in Spartanburg, you need to be in your safe place, Boiling Springs. And again, as we were talking about earlier there, this is going to be making its way here, especially on the western side of Spartanburg itself. We'll continue to watch this here for you as well here. So let's switch over here to velocity here, and I'll go in and we'll kind of highlight again what we're watching and kind of the areas that we need to be concerned about here. And again, it's right around the Clevedale area at this moment, but as we look off towards the north and east here, if we put a track on that for you here, a fresh track on this here at about 30 miles per hour now. So what I'll do is I'll update that track for you and lift it off towards the north and east here. And so Saxon, Boiling Springs, over towards Mayo, and eventually Chesney, if this holds together. This is going to be moving north and east towards your area now. So again, we've got this tornado warning that goes until 7 o'clock, so about another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll see kind of what happens after that. But we're watching a pretty defined couplet there that is showing up here on radar on our wind velocity signature right near the Clevedale area here, lifting off towards the north and east here. And that's going to be kind of the area of concern here as it moves off towards Arcadia Heights, over towards the Haddon area there, over towards Haddon Crossroads. And so we're going to keep an eye on that as it moves north and east there. So we'll switch over to the regular radar here. And again, it doesn't look like a particularly strong storm in terms of what we typically look for in terms of a tornado here. So these are these kind of like a little quick spin up tornadoes. They tend to spin up on these little lines of storms that move on through. And the line itself is not very tall. So what that tells us is the thunderstorm is not very tall. When we look at this storm system here, we do a 3D slice of it. Again, you can see as we kind of zoom out here, we're talking about 20,000 feet. So these are what we call low top thunderstorms here, which means low instability, but there's enough wind energy in the atmosphere and enough spin in the atmosphere to produce that potential rotation there. So that's the difference, and that's what we're seeing showing up right now with this activity as it makes its way on through the area here. So we'll go back to the regular radar here, give you a kind of a wide perspective. I know everyone's tuning in right now, probably wondering what's going on. This tornado warning, again, is for Spartanburg County. And again, you can see there's a wall of rain, basically. It's probably a driving rain, hard to see out there. It was kind of a tropical type atmosphere now, and that's moving from southwest to northeast across the area here. But within that line there, we've got an embedded area of rotation or two that we're watching, and that's where that potential tornado is showing up there in Spartanburg County there. So let's get the latest here for you. We'll go back in and we'll stop this here and show you what's going on. Of course, again, going to the wind product, because that's the best way to really detect where that potential couplet is, what we're watching on radar. And it's, again, showing up still right around the Clevedale area here where we're seeing that possible rotation. So looking like it's about to cross over 29 right now. So this couplet here, getting word here, is near around the I-26-85 junction there. So no final reports coming in yet and no damage reports so far, but we are continuing to watch that again as it makes its way there towards the intersection there, the I-26 and 85 junction showing up there. So this is continuing to move closer and closer towards you along Haddon Crossroads, Calvert, and over towards Arcadia Heights at this moment here. So we're continuing to call that and watch that for you here as we take a look at the debris signature. Again, nothing that's showing up that's very strong, but again, there are some signs of a little bit of drop out there on what we call our debris detection site there, or our correlation coefficient, that kind of gives us an idea that there's maybe something else flying in the air besides rain or anything like that, any weather-related situation there. So that's an area that we're watching. But again, there's no strong signature of that, maybe a little bit of a hint of that, and I'm going to keep an eye on that as this continues to move toward the more populated area. As we look at just the rotation, take off everything on the radar and check out the rotation. You can see, again, that area there as it approaches Haddon Crossroads, again, lining up pretty well with where that potential couplet or tornado report is probably showing up there. So we're watching that again as it moves off towards the north and east there, as it continues to make its way north and east, I should say, across the area. So we'll kind of take a look here at what's going on. Again, not seeing a lot of hail showing up with these cells. Again, these are very low top systems here. So as I look at our hail detection, there's a hint that there probably is some hail making its way on the northern side of that storm there from, let's say, Fairview Heights over towards Hillcrest. You may be seeing some Peace Side size or dime size hail showing up with that. That'll be moving towards you over towards Zion Hill and eventually over towards Cannon's Campground there. But right now, not seeing anything of a large proportion making its way on through there. But of course, the main concern is that potential of that tornado. And again, let's see here, we're getting an update right now on Live Super Doppler 4. So as it updates here, I will continue to let that kind of do look at the data coming on here. But again, we've got that couplet that we continue to watch here as it makes its way on off towards the north and east here. Now, again, we'll go back to the radar, and I can go ahead and tell you, Hilltop down to Spartanburg, right into downtown Spartanburg over towards Arkwright there. We're seeing some heavy rain, probably some gusty winds on the leading edge of that here as it makes its way on through. And you can kind of see that what we're talking about here. This area right in here kind of fanning out there. So there's some strong gusty winds here making its way in now. And this is going to be lifting towards Lawson. It'll be lifting towards Zion Hill and Ben Avon as we go throughout the next, let's say, 10 minutes or so. This is right along the 9 corridor, 56 corridor, kind of right there on the northern side of Spartanburg there as it lifts off towards the north and east here. Again, that tornado warning in effect for about 5 more minutes or so. The good news, again, right now, I'm not seeing any damage reports coming in at this moment. That doesn't mean that this damage is not occurring right now, and doesn't mean that there can't be any damage showing up with this here coming up shortly. But right now, we're not seeing that coming in, at least in front of me at this point. So that's some good news as it moves to a more populated area. That's telling me we're not seeing anything too wild out there, at least right now. But this also could be rain wrap. There's a lot of rain. These are those tropical downpours, very low top cells. So there's not a lot of moisture that's rolling in with that at this time here. So let me go back and adjust the radar here and show you what's going on again as we take a look here at your velocity here, the wind data here, and try to see what we've got going on. Again, not seeing that strong couplet that we had a little earlier. If you remember about 10 minutes ago, we had this very strong couplet. You can kind of see it right here. That big strong couplet there. And then notice now as we go a little farther along in time here, as we get to current radar data here, as we move north and east, not seeing quite the couplet there, but still seeing a little bit of a dropout back in here just to the north and west of Spartanburg. So that's kind of the area in which I would be concerned about potentially being a tornado showing up there. But again, right now, not getting any official report of that at this moment. So that's good news because as it moves across a populated area, you know, if we don't have a lot of reports of it, hopefully that's going to be a good sign there. But still, folks in Lone Oak over towards NOLA, over towards Highway 9 need to be in their safe place right now as this tornado warning continues for a few more minutes until we can give you the all clear on that. So let's switch back over here and let's look at the wind shear product. Again, the good news there, looking like a lot of that has dropped off as well here in the past few moments. So not seeing any strong rotation or couplets with that. Just looking back towards the west here, we've got a lot of heavy rain that's making its way through from Lyman over towards Reedville and back towards Woodruff. And this stretches back over towards Pauline and down towards the south of Fountain Inn as well. And again, there's nothing out there that's going to say, hey, that's a tornado storm or a tornadic storm that's showing up across the area because it's such a low top sheared environment. In fact, notice I have the lightning turned on here, but you can see not seeing much in the way of lightning showing up across the area here as well. So this is a day where we don't have a ton of instability. These are not huge storms, but we have a lot of wind energy, and the wind energy enough twisting in the winds to give us that potential there. So we'll go back here again into Spartanburg County and show you again. Here's the good news, folks, along the southern part of the county there from Fairmount to Roebuck. Looks like things are all clear for you. You can come out of your safe place in terms of any tornado threat there. But we're watching still around the Arcadia Heights, Spartanburg area, and points north as that continues to lift off towards the area there. So we're going to continue to watch this here. Looks like we do. It looks like the National Weather Service will be reissuing this tornado warning. So we'll wait to see if that occurs. But it looks like that's what they're planning on doing here at 7 o'clock. So we'll stick with that as that occurs. And looks like they're getting at least some damage reports coming in. So we'll fine tune that. We're going to be trying to get some more damage reports out of the area as well. If we hear anything, we will let you know. And of course, if you can safely let us know, please feel free to do that as well. But again, only safely once the storm has passed your area there. But again, right now, just on the northwestern side of Spartanburg, that's going to be the area of concern. Again, as I take a look here at the velocity reports, you can see here how this storm is kind of tracked to the north here, now making its way up towards the 56 and 85 corridor. So basically 6B Hilltop area right now. And again, I'm not seeing a strong couplet there. I'm just going to check another source here real quick that I have off screen, and just to look at that to see if, make sure I'm not missing anything showing up there. But right now, the area of concern would be lifting now north of northwest of Spartanburg over towards Valley Falls and Boiling Springs here. So this will now be lifting towards Valley Falls and Boiling Springs. So let's go back, because it looks like we've got an update to the tornado warning. So I'm going to come back here to the regular radar here, and we will take a look here and see what we've got going on here. And that tornado warning has now been extended north and east. So this is now going to be including folks in the northern portions of Spartanburg County. And this also is going to stretch now into Rutherford County now, over in Rutherford County in North Carolina now as well. So this includes you folks over in Chesnee and also other areas as well. Right now, this storm, the potential tornado, is located about 9 miles to the north of Spartanburg now. So as expected there, we said there, moving off towards the north of Spartanburg, looks like that is the case. So let's switch over to our wind product and switch in and see if we can go in closer to see what we're talking about there. So basically they got this here. We've got this thing clocked now moving up towards Valley Falls and Boiling Springs area. So it's kind of hard to see right now on the velocity, but where they're watching or potential rotation would be kind of right in that area there. So in Highway 9. Now, I know you're not seeing the red and the green couplet close together yet on this frame here, but that's where the potential indication is. You can notice some of the brighter greens showing up within that just north of Valley Falls. So Valley Falls, hopefully you're in your safe place. This is probably where the potential tornado would be at this point in time. And again, now we've got that tornado warning extended till 7:30. And this goes for the northern portions of Spartanburg County into portions of Rutherford County as well. So let's get spanned out a bit and do a little track here. We've got this moving now northeast or north at 45 miles per hour. So I'm going to put a little tracker on there, and we'll try to get this to go out here. Let's see. All right, so we're talking Boiling Springs basically on top of you right now. Chesnee around 724. Bryce at around 731. And Danieltown at about 744. Again, this is a radar indicated tornado, which means that no one has actually spotted it yet, but we are seeing that there's at least the potential of some damage with this. So we're watching that for you very closely there as this lifts off towards the north and east here, again, at about 45 miles per hour. So it's a quick mover. Anytime a storm is moving at 40 plus miles per hour, it has a chance of producing wind damage, because that storm, as it moves that quickly, it's just like when you're driving or you're standing by the road and someone is driving a car and they go by at 40, 50 miles per hour. You feel that wind that comes off of that as it moves off towards the east. And that's the same thing with a storm. You feel the wind that continues to make its way through as well. So looking at the velocity, again, we're watching that area there now as it approaches the Boiling Springs area here, now moving off towards the north and east. Again, moving quickly at about 45 miles per hour. So this is a fast moving system, but again, folks that need to be alert for that are in the path of this storm here. Again, as it continues to lift off towards the north and east here, is Chesnee, Danieltown, over towards Forest City and Rutherford County, and over towards Mount Vernon at about 8 o'clock if this holds together here. So hopefully we continue to see a little bit of weakening with this as it moves off towards the north and east here. But right now, and it looks like we're starting to see now some signs of that couplet trying to wrap back up a little bit more again here. So nothing too strong, but noticing here on the north side of Boiling Springs over just to the south and west of Mountain View now, we're starting to see that red and green coming together a little bit more. So that's a little concerning, but right now, again, that tornado warning is in effect, so that's good news there. So if you're living there in Mountain View, hopefully you're in your tornado safety place as this continues to make its way out towards the north and east. Right now, the area of concern, I would say, would probably be right in this area here. So this would include folks around Peach Street right now. This is directly over top of you right now, and this is moving towards places like Northgate Circle, over towards Midnight Road and Hickory Nut Drive there. This is going to continue to lift north and east, but this is right in kind of in that neighborhood right there between you guys there, and it's lifting off towards the north and east here at about 45 miles per hour. So again, we'll just do a kind of a short track here as we look at this as it moves off towards the north and east there. And again, we'll place that on there. So Cooley Springs, Bryce, and Danielstown all need to be aware this is moving towards you and potentially into the Chesnee area as well as we get into the next couple of minutes here as that lifts on out towards the north and east. So we're continuing to keep an eye on this storm. Again, that tornado warning extended now until 7:30. So we'll be right here to keep you updated on that as it moves on off towards the north and east. I do want to give you an update on what's going on area wide, because in a lot of places you're probably seeing that heavy rain coming down and the wind, the way that this is kind of wrapping up, you can almost see, if you look at the radar very closely, you can almost see kind of like a little comma, backwards comma spin showing up there. And that's an indication here that we've got a little bit of wind energy twisting in the air, in the upstairs, in the atmosphere here. So as this moves through, any one of these little cells can possibly try to rotate a little bit. So that's what we're going to be watching for you closely as it moves on through there. But again, the main concern right now is northern portions of Spartanburg County and then stretching up into Rutherford County as well into North Carolina. So the good news for Spartanburg and areas to the south and west, you are clear now. You can come out of your safe place. The tornado threat has passed you. It's moving off towards the north and east. And now Boiling Springs, you're in the thick of that tornado threat right now. And then this will be lifting north towards Chesnee here once we move over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. But the good news in Spartanburg is that you are in the all clear there in downtown. It's now moving north and east across the northern portions of the county at this point in time right now. As it continues to lift north and east, folks in Rutherford County need to be aware of that as well, that we're going to be watching that for you. So let's switch over and show you the wind again. And again, a little concerning that we're seeing that green and reds trying to come back together again. We lost that for a little bit, and now it's back on the northern side of Boiling Springs there, just to the south and west of Mountain View. That's that potential of where that tornado would be. That would be where that couplet would be. Again, you'd have the winds moving away from the radar here, moving toward the radar there. So kind of right there in the middle somewhere is likely where the actual tornado would be as it lifts off towards the north and east. And again, it's booking it at about 45 miles per hour. So folks in Mountain View over towards, let's say north of that Cooley Springs area, you're not going to have a lot of time before this storm is on top of you. And then you will need to be aware of that as well there. So again, continue to keep an eye on that as it lifts off towards the north and east here. I'm going to do a quick check here on the track and just look at some of our radar detection is also still acting that as well. And so that's continuing to lift on off towards the north and east. So again, a tornado warning that's in effect until 7:30. This is for northern Spartanburg County. But the good news is, notice down towards the south there from Spartanburg and points south and west toward Fairmount, you are all clear now. The tornado threat is more towards the northern half of the county now, about to cross into North Carolina now. So you can come out of your safe place. But if you're in Boiling Springs to Mayo over towards places like Cooley Springs, you need to be in your safe place. So let's take a look at, we've got some damage across the area. We've got some pictures coming in, and let's get some information and updates on what's going on with that here. I'm going to toss it back over to Renee. And Renee, let us know what you have for us.
Cedric, we are now seeing some damage reports. And of course, if you do see damage in your area, we want to wait till the storm has passed. We appreciate your photos, but again, safety is first. Damage right now, let's take a look in Seneca this evening. This photo is from the area of Kiowee School Road and Highway 28. Now, we've also received a report of a flipped car. This photo was taken in the same area. You see that car just flipped right over. That's a testament to just how powerful these winds can be. And we also got a photo of a radio tower. It seemingly snapped in the same area. That's what it looked like. My goodness, those are some strong winds. And right now there are roughly 1,300 people without power in Pickens County. We want to go to Cedric now with the very latest, but before we go to Cedric, we want to stress again, we appreciate the photos, the videos, anything you can send us, but first and foremost, make sure that if you need to be in that safe area, you go there, and then once Cedric and the models show that you can safely go out, then you can send us your photos and videos. Cedric, what are we seeing right now?
Well, Renee, I'll tell you, what we're watching right now here, of course, we're watching that tornado threat there down towards the Mountain View area, but I'm also concerned for our friends in Chesnee right now. Chesnee, we're seeing some of these strong winds really wrapping up right around you right now. So I'm seeing winds estimated by radar in that 60 mile per hour range there. So you can kind of see that area where we're seeing some of the bright green showing up. So even if it's not a tornado, there looks to be some damaging winds heading towards you in Chesnee as we speak. So hopefully, because you're already under that tornado warning, you're in your tornado safety place. But if not, do be aware that we're looking at those strong wind potentials moving towards you. And again, it doesn't take a tornado to cause power outages. It doesn't take a tornado to cause trees to come down. All it takes is strong winds, and that's what we're kind of watching wrapping up. But I'm seeing the winds really increasing there right around the Chesnee area. So I need you to be aware of that and to be safe and be in your safe place. Again, what's really interesting about the thunderstorms today is that we're not really seeing thunderstorms because we're not seeing lightning, probably not hearing a lot of thunder out there, but what we're seeing is that tropical feel. If you've ever been along the Gulf Coast or the tropical areas, when they get those heavy rain systems that move through, then they don't see a lot of lightning and thunder, but what they see is that torrential rainfall, and that torrential rainfall is a problem here as well because that torrential rainfall could be causing, if there's a potential tornado in northern Spartanburg County, it could be rain wrapped at this time. And so that's also the concern that we want you to be aware of. So again, this is a threat now north of Spartanburg downtown, but mainly up towards, let's say, north of Boiling Springs and over towards Chesney. So it looks like here we're getting a little bit more damage. Reports coming in here right along where the radar here is still indicating that potential tornado. So with that being said, whether it's a tornado or not on the ground, we're still getting some damage reports coming in now here. Just got a damage report coming in here around the Moore area here. And so that's right along the path of where this couplet is and moving. So again, may not have a tornado. You may not be able to see it because it's rain wrapped. But what you want to do right now, of course, if you're in northern Spartanburg County, again, north of Spartanburg downtown, but if you're in northern Spartanburg County, you want to be in your tornado safety place and areas off towards the north of that. We're talking about you in Cooley Springs. We're talking about over towards areas north, possibly up into Rutherford County as well. So looks like we're getting some new updates coming in here on radar. And looks like, again, here, one of the things I'm wanting to point out to you is the strong winds that continue to really increase right now between Mountain View and Chesney. Again, we're seeing that potential of some damaging winds showing up here right in this area. And then on the very southern tip of that, there's that potential of a little bit of green and red. So that's what that potential tornado would be. But notice all that wind that's coming out as well. So there could be what we call maybe kind of a downburst or some very strong winds in that area there moving towards Chesney there, and that could cause some damage. And again, we're getting some damage reports slowly but surely coming in along the path to where this signature for a tornado would be. So that tells us that there obviously, at least at the very least, some very strong winds that are wrapping up there. And again, that potential of a tornado. So again, you need to still be in your tornado safety place in Chesney, in Cooley Springs as well, especially on the southeast side of Cooley Springs. You need to be in your tornado safety place in Bryce. You folks there in Bryce and Rutherford County over in North Carolina, you need to be in your tornado safety place as well. So let's take a look here at the wind shear product. The good news is as we look at this has come down a little bit, but still indicating, again, here just north of Cherokee Springs here, of a little bit of rotation showing up there about to cross over there towards Mayo. So, again, we're still getting some hints of signs that there is a little bit of rotation showing up here, and we're watching that. Our radar detection system is still indicating that potential rotation showing up as well across the northern half of Spartanburg County. So you need to still be in your tornado safety place. Again, that tornado warning goes until 7:30, and so that means that, again, that we're going to be here with you covering this and tracking this as it moves into Rutherford County. Also let you know we've got some heavy rain about to move into portions of Gaffney over towards areas towards the east there, but again, the main severe storm right now, the tornado warning storm, is, of course, right off across northern Spartanburg County, and then that stretches back over into Rutherford County as well. Just checking the debris signature. Again, not seeing anything that stands out too strong with that, but again, we'll watch for any of these little blips that try to show up as that moves on out towards the north and east. And, of course, what about hail with these storms? Well, not seeing a big signature for, like, large hail, but there's that potential of some small pea-sized hail on some of the northern ends of these storms here as they make their way into North Carolina. There you see that hail, potential of a pea-sized hail showing up there between Chesney and up towards Green Creek there into North Carolina. So don't be surprised about that. But when I show you the lightning strikes over the past 30 minutes, what's really interesting is, again, I'll make the view out across the entire area, and you can see no lightning strikes. And that's, again, a sign that we don't have a lot of instability here. We don't have the conditions right for these very strong top thunderstorms that are way up in the atmosphere to produce all of this energy across the area. These are very low top thunderstorms here that are getting enough wind energy and tapping into that to be able to cause a little rotation. And you can see this entire what we call a little bit of what we call a mesoscale convective system, and what that basically is like a little mini low pressure. So it's like a little spin in the atmosphere, and this complex is spinning as it moves across the area, and every now and then one of those spins can kind of reach down to the ground. So if I put this into motion, you'll see how it's kind of spinning, almost like a backwards comma there. And as that makes its way off towards the north and east there, we're getting that one tornado warning storm that's showing up there across portions of, let's say, Spartanburg County, and now moving into Rutherford County there as well. So Chesnee, hopefully you're in your tornado safety place right now. Let's switch over to the wind and get an update here again, or what we're watching again. On the southwest side of Chesnee, we're seeing at the very least some strong damaging winds making its way off towards the north and east there. And so this will be moving off towards Chesnee downtown and then eventually towards Bryce there in North Carolina. So we got to make sure that we're safe inside, away from windows. Of course, at the lowest level of your home is always a great spot, the most interior room in your house as well, as this continues to make its way off towards the north and east there across the area here. So again, we're watching this here. This warning goes until 7:30, and this will be, again, making its way out of the upstate and making its way into North Carolina coming up here very shortly as well. So I think right now we'll check back in here in a moment here with Renee to see if she has any new information coming in for us there, or is she hearing any new information coming out of the newsroom here, and we'll check on what's going on with the latest with this warning.
Well, thank you, Cedric, and thank you for all those details. The storm can change depending on where it's headed, so you're going to want to listen to him, especially if in those areas where you need to take shelter, find your safe place. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that we've seen of damage in our area. Several damage reports in the Seneca area specifically. Take a look at that roof there. You can see it's covered up there. The photo is from the area of Kiowa School Road and Highway 28. Wow. And we've also recently received a report of a flipped car. Really crazy there. Certainly hope everyone is okay. This photo was taken in the same area. The car flipped over, and if you take a close look, we also got a photo of a radio tower that appeared to snap there. And again, as Cedric was mentioning, sometimes the wind and the rain can almost appear like a fog, so it's difficult to see. But if you take a close look, you can see just how powerful those winds can be. And right now we are hearing that some people are without power, and we don't know if there are power lines down right now. You can take a look at the number of people on your screen from Pickens County. Over 1,300 people are without power right now. Again, when we have power outages, we have the potential for power lines to be down. And hopefully everyone knows, but if you do see a downed tree or a downed power line, please don't touch it. It can be incredibly dangerous. Even if it appears to be out, you don't want to get close. You want to leave that to the professionals. Now, this is from Stone Avenue in Greenville right now. We do have reports of a tree down blocking the road. You can see they are detouring folks around that tree as they respond to the area. This is an evolving situation as storms move through our area. It can mean a lot of different things. You remember how Cedric was speaking about the potential for projectiles. That can be trees, that can be power lines, that can be really anything around in your area. And if you have not yet been told to take shelter, but you are still within the path of this storm, you're going to want to be mindful to get into the center of your home. You're going to be away from different areas like windows, doors. If you have any pets outside, you're going to want to bring them in if you can safely do so. We certainly appreciate any photos or videos as we are trying to pull together this coverage to see what it looks like in our area. But first and foremost, we're going to want to make sure you stay safe before you send us any pictures or videos. Wait for that storm to pass and then send it to us. But right now, we're going to send it back to Cedric for the very latest with the models. What is it looking like, Cedric?
Yes, thanks, Renee. And I'll tell you what, this definitely, again, is an interesting situation where we've got these thunderstorms that are making their way through, but they're not really thunderstorms, right? So we're just getting these driving tropical rain showers, but the wind energy upstairs is enough to give that rotation. Now, I want to start with this wide view here to give you an idea of the storm that's affecting us here. It's already a big swirling mess right now across the upper Midwest. So you can watch this here and see the swirl very clearly here, right from Chicago over towards Quincy and down towards the Midwest there. That's an area of low pressure, the center of that storm right there. And you can see it has that rotation going on there. Now, I want to bring you down to our area, okay, where we've got also rotation, a little spin going on in the atmosphere. But notice how our spin is going the opposite direction there. So when you've got that counterclockwise spin showing up, which we have across our area, we've got that warm, moist air getting pulled in out of the south and east. We've got this line that's moving in from the west, which is actually going to bring us drier and improving weather here the next couple of hours here. So we'll be clearing this mess out of here. And the rest of the weekend looks fantastic, by the way. But that's what's causing the severe weather right now. You've kind of got that clash. You can almost see it here on this view here. Notice how this area is coming in like this, and this area is coming in like this. And so right in there, you've kind of got that little area of spin in the atmosphere, and that's just enough to give us what we're seeing right now and that potential tornado showing up there. So let's get an update here on the tornado warning here that's going on. Well, it's now been now just trimmed back down now to Rutherford County here in North Carolina, because that's where the potential tornado threat is. So let's go in a little closer there and show you. Again, this is out still until 7:30. And now you can see here just south of Rutherfordton right now. And actually, interestingly enough, we've just got our first lightning strike out of this entire mess here showing up right now just south and west of Rutherfordton. So that tells us the atmosphere is a little more unstable the farther north and east you go across the area here. But that's the area now that we're kind of most concerned about, where that storm is now and that potential tornado is showing up there. So if you look closely here, you'll be able to see a little bit of green and red trying to come together there, but that's the area we're watching just on the south side of Rutherfordton now as it continues to lift on off towards the north and east here. And what I'm going to do is, because we've got so much going on out there, I wanted to zoom out here and just check on some activity here and make sure there's nothing else trying to get going across the area here. But we're definitely continuing to watch that very closely here. Let's go over to our track here and show you kind of our early warning radar detection, showing us again a little bit more. It's gone from the green to in the yellow now, so a little bit more rotation showing up with this activity as it moves across the border into North Carolina. So folks in Rutherford County need to be in your tornado safe place. Again, Bryce over towards areas towards Rutherfordton, you need to be aware that this potential is heading towards you at this time here. So along US Highway 221, again, this is moving north and east, so Forest City over towards Ellenboro, and then eventually downtown Rutherfordton, you need to be in your safe place right now, because at the very least, you're going to see a wall of water, rain coming in, and you're going to get some very strong winds. And again, it depends on what's happening with the wind itself upstairs. Could even have a potential tornado there as well. But either way, we're seeing the damage coming in across the area from these winds. So that gives you an idea. You need to take this storm very seriously as well. So we're watching this stuff very closely here for you. And again, we're going to be watching this for you as we go throughout the rest of the evening here, as we get information and any more information coming in. Of course, I know a lot of folks are dealing with power outages off to the west right now this evening. So hopefully you have the WYFF mobile app downloaded on your phone, because you can stream the coverage live. It's available for you, and you'll be able to see that as well. So let's switch over and kind of take a little closer look again at what we're seeing here. I'm not seeing anything of too much concern right now on the radar here, but again, we're still watching that area where that potential tornado could be here, showing up as it makes its way north and east, crossing over into North Carolina, and also just an area of strong winds that continue to show up there as well. We've got some very strong winds up to 60 miles per hour, so damaging winds heading towards Avondale, Bryce, over towards southern Rutherfordton, and this will be making its way into the Ellenboro area as well as we go throughout the rest of this evening. So again, in Rutherford County, you need to be in your tornado safety place. That's the lowest level of your home, the most interior room, away from any windows and outside walls. And of course, you want to take something to cover your head with as well, because most injuries occur because of flying debris in the air, not so much from the winds themselves, but what's flying in the winds as that system makes its way on through there. So we want you to be safe on that. Again, if you need to, you can turn the TV way up and hopefully listen to the coverage as long as you have power until the storm passes as well. So let's switch back over and we'll go to our regular radar mode again and see if we're seeing anything new really out here. Here's the good news for you, and I want to give an update on the area. So if you're in Greenville, if you're in Anderson, if you're in Clemson, if you're in Pickens, Walhalla, Toccoa, Hartwell, everything is clear now. So the storm, the severe threat has pushed to your east now. Things are improving back to the west. For the most part, will be pretty quiet as we go throughout the rest of this evening hours. The severe threat is done and over with there. Right now, you're dealing with some heavy rain and some gusty winds in Greenwood up towards Lawrence and over towards Union right now. But at this moment, nothing severe showing up with that, although there will likely be some gusty winds and some torrential rainfall coming on through. The main area of concern, again, that we're watching for you closely here, moving north and east of Spartanburg now, moving north into Rutherford County here in North Carolina. That's the area of concern where we have that tornado warning. But again, you can see almost this little backward spin here, so backward comma here showing up as it makes its way on through. So on the northeast side of that, where you're getting that rotation there showing up there, that's at the very least strong gusty winds being pushed out. And then that's moving towards you in Rutherfordton and also eventually over towards Gaffney. That line will make its way through you. It's pushing through Union right now. Once the line moves through, your severe threat is lessened, but again, until it moves through, you still have that threat of severe weather coming on in across the area there. So we'll watch this for you again about another 8 minutes or so on that warning across the area. And I'm just going to check some of the products again to see if I see anything of concern anywhere else. And right now I'm not seeing that. I will tell you here down again towards Union and over towards Gaffney here, you see where you almost have this little straight line almost showing up here, and that would be like right in here. Well, that basically is the line of some very strong winds. So those right here in this bright green shaded area here, those are some like damaging winds, probably 50, 60 miles per hour pushing on through. The good news, that has now pushed through the Union area, but it's heading towards the York and Chester area as well. So if you know folks there, let them know about that. But again, the good news is, for the most part, that has now pushed through the heart of the area now. But again, it's now making its way through Gaffney as well. But obviously, the area of greatest concern is right here across Rutherford County here. And this includes folks from Forest City over towards Avondale and the Bryce area. That's where we're seeing some more damaging winds here showing up across the region as that lifts on off towards the north and east here. And I'm going to just put the latest radar detection on there, still indicating, again, a pretty moderate chance of seeing some rotation showing up there, still in that yellow. So that's, again, a sign that we need to be aware of that. I would also say folks around Rutherfordton, probably not a bad idea to go ahead and go to your safe place just in case. And we'll be watching this here for you very closely as that moves on through the area. Of course, getting some more damage reports coming in time to time. Getting a report here from Reedville there over in Spartanburg County of some wind damage there. We've got some hardwood trees down near a house there at Brookhaven Drive. And again, that's possibly from a tornado per the report. So again, we'll be watching to get more updates on that for you as this comes on through. But we have had some damage across the area. And in fact, I think Renee, of course, has been following this closely for us and watching some of those damage reports coming in. She has, I think, some pictures to show you just of some of the damage scattered really all across the area from earlier today.
We do have some photos, Cedric. Thank you. And we are monitoring not only the radar on Cedric's side, but social media as well. So if the storm has safely passed in your area and you are seeing damage, please send them in to us so we can share and get a better understanding of what this storm system looked like and the impact. Let's take a look at Seneca right now. This photo is from Kiowee School Road and Highway 28. You might have seen it already. That's the roof damage. We also received a report up next of a flipped car. Take a look at this. If you have not seen this photo already, I mean, that is just how serious sometimes these winds can be. Right now, we're not really sure who was involved. We're certainly hoping that everyone is okay. The car right there flipped over in the Seneca area. And we also got this photo of a radio tower. It seemingly snapped in the similar area. Again, it can be difficult, almost foggy to see with all that rain. But we just talked to the Seneca Police Chief, Casey Balling, and he says they have a few trees down on power lines near the Lindsay Road and Highway 123. We have reached out to the Sheriff's Office for more details as well. And you'll remember we were talking about the danger of possible power lines down. So if you do see a tree down, don't go near it. There could be power lines wrapped in those trees. Right now, there are roughly 1,300 people without power in Pickens County. And as Cedric mentioned, if you do have the WYFF News 4 app, you can get that on your phone now. If you do have power, should you lose it later, you can always go to the app and get the very latest. This is Stone Avenue right now in Greenville. Take a look at what's happening there now. We're getting reports that a tree is down. That tree is blocking the road. They are detouring folks around that area so that they can safely clean up that tree. And of course, there are a lot of power lines on either side of Stone Avenue. It can be a really congested area when it comes to traffic. So they kind of have to get everybody cleared away from that space so they can remove the tree, hopefully not clip any power lines. We're learning more and more. And as we learn those details, we will bring them to you. But again, I know we've said it a lot, so forgive us if this sounds like a bit of a broken record. Safety is the most important thing. That's why we want to bring these updates to you. So if the storm has safely passed and you are seeing damage, snap a photo, send it to us. But again, if you need to be in that safe place, Don't be taking a picture. Stay in your safe place. As Cedric mentioned, get something to safely cover your head in the event of any projectiles. Once the storm has passed, then you can send us those photos. Cedric, what is the model showing us now?
Well, Renee, right now, just getting some new updates, looking at this wind data here for us very closely, and two things to really point out to you right now. The first thing here, of course, we're continuing to watch that potential tornado couplet showing up here. This is now making its way on the south side of Rutherfordton, now moving just to the, let's say, right on top of actually Danieltown over towards Sandy Mush area there, and this is lifting north and east. So between Rutherfordton and Ellenboro, we're still watching for that potential tornado as it continues to make its way north and east here. And the tornado warning goes for about another 3 minutes or so. So we'll see if that's reissued or not, but it's lifting up towards Ellenboro and north and east of our area here as we go throughout the evening. But also I want to point out here, just looking at some other data here, we've got these winds here and there between Chesney and Mayo over here. We're seeing some widespread areas of wind here between about 50, 60 miles per hour moving in. And this is covering folks from Valley Falls over towards really on the north side of Spartanburg and stretching up towards Gaffney and Chesney right now. Chesney right now, you're likely seeing some very strong winds up to 50, 60 miles per hour now as it continues to make its way north and east as well. So what we're noticing here is that we've got some strong winds that are showing up here basically in this area here, okay, that are up to 50, 60 miles per hour. Those are not tornado winds. Those are just some very strong gusty winds showing up there being indicated by radar across that area. They're lifting north and east and they're kind of expanding in coverage there. So that's going to probably cause some more damage there due to just some wind. And then, of course, we're watching what's going on here as you get towards Danieltown and Sandy Mush here on the northern part of that tornado warning that goes into effect again for about another 2 minutes. That tornado warning there, we're still watching and still seeing a couplet indicated there on radar for any potential damage there, and a little bit of rotation. If you look closely here, right just to the south of Sandy Mush there, we're seeing just a little bit of that being indicated there. So kind of well-defined area there between Sandy Mush and Avondale. So I want you to be aware of that as that continues to lift now towards the north and east. But I'll tell you, looking at some of these wind data that's coming in here just to the south of that area, yes, that area has the tornado warning, and that's the area to be concerned about. But right now, these winds here, 50, 60 miles per hour, are expanding here right along U.S. Highway 221 up towards Chesney and Mayo. Again, we're seeing some very strong winds being indicated here, specifically right around Chesney and Mayo at this moment. So maybe you're wondering, can you come out of your tornado safety place? I would actually just wait there for a few more minutes if you're in the Chesney and Mayo area, because there are some very strong winds likely occurring right now in the average of 50, 60 miles per hour. And that's expanding, and that's moving towards you in Boiling Springs over there, and also over towards places like Mooresboro and Forest City. Also Rutherford, downtown Rutherfordton as well. This big batch of wind is about to make its way into your area. Again, seeing reports of 50, 60 miles per hour here with this wind as it's moving on through here. So that's on the backward or the back side of these this comma that you can almost see here. And that just tells us here that we've got some strong winds. And that's not uncommon here because, again, if you were to look at this here on radar, remember, you're going to have winds coming like this, but on the back side of the comma, they're going to come in like that. So those winds are now coming in from a different direction out of the south and west, but they are quite gusty right now, moving through Chesney, moving through portions of Mayo area right now. Some damaging winds, again, probably 50, 60 miles per hour at least, pushing through that area there. So continue to watch that here. That's probably becoming the primary concern there. Some of those strong winds push in here on the back side of this low pressure system as it moves on through. So let me show you the regular radar here and give you an idea of what's going on with that. Again, as you can see here, we're getting this activity making its way, kind of swirling on through here. We've got the main line pushing east of Spartanburg now, making its way east of Gaffney and over towards Union and eventually about to push out of the area here. And then the top part of that is what is causing the concern over there around Rutherfordton. But thankfully right now, looks like we're going to allow for that tornado warning to expire now across Rutherford County there. So that's the good news right now. But I do want to tell you there are some very strong winds that are continuing to increase there from Gaffney over towards Chesney here. Let me just get a closer look here again, especially right on around Chesney right now. I'd be very concerned with some damaging winds making its way through the Chesney area as we speak there. Also, want to let you know about some more damage reports coming in here again here in Greenville. Greenville City Fire, I think, are responding to some trees and power lines down. That's, again, I think we showed you that. We have some pictures of that there on Stone Avenue there, about the 300 block there. So as that continues to lift on off towards the north and east as well. So here's the good news to kind of reset everything for you now here before we get you back to regular programming here. You'll be able to see, again, the brunt of the severe weather now, this big kind of mesoscale convective system moving off towards the north and east there towards Charlotte now. So the severe threat is pushing towards Charlotte and away from our area here. And things are going to be improving quickly here behind this system. It's going to be breezy, but conditions will overall be improving as the rain and storm threat will basically shut down once this line moves through your area. So Greenville and points to the west, it's done. Spartanburg, it's basically about done now. And off towards the east, it will be done in the next hour or two. And by, let's say, 9 o'clock, we're going to be quiet and dry around here. So that will be some good news there. And again, right now, the tornado warnings have been allowed to expire. But before we get you back to regular scheduled programming, we'll check back in with Renee to give you kind of a full update on what's been happening and some of the damage we have. And then we'll toss it back to me and we'll do a quick weather follow-up, and we'll get you back to your regular scheduled programming. But thankfully, hopefully you were able to be safe during this evening. I know we had some damage, and for that, more on that, let's go over to you, Renee.
We do continue to see damage in our area, and as Cedric is reminding you, even if we are in the clear, we could still be seeing some damaging winds and rain. So again, if you're hearing that whooshing wind, it might not be time to come out just yet, but as Cedric mentioned, it is getting safer across our region. Let's take a look at those damage photos now. Again, we have that home in Seneca off of the Kiowee School Road. That roof appears to just be ripped there. It's difficult to see the extent of the damage or whether any damage got inside, but certainly some serious damage to that roof there. We hope everyone's all right. A closer look tonight at that car just flipped over. This again in the Seneca area. Anyone who might be driving or has had experience driving through storms know how scary this can be, and we're certainly hoping everyone is safe in this situation. Now let's go now to, we have more information from photojournalist Mateo Rodriguez. He's got a closer look at that now, and it looks like emergency officials were able to respond to the scene. Again, photojournalist Mateo Rodriguez took those photos there from the Seneca area earlier today as the storm moved through our area. And let's take a look at some of the other damage in our region. Can we have those next photos there? Oh, and let's return to the other angle we now have of the roof. You can see really it appears at this moment that Seneca is bearing the brunt of this damage, but we do want to mention that if you are able to safely come out, if you're seeing damage in our area, we would appreciate, now that the storm has passed, again, if it's still raining, if it's still windy, don't come out just yet, but once the storm passes, send us your footage, send us your photos. I even posted on my Facebook page if that's easier for you. But Cedric has a final wrap up of what we're looking at in our region. And Cedric, what do folks need to know?
Well, right now what they need to know is that there are some very strong winds, probably 50, 60 miles per hour, again, making its way from Chesnee over towards Gaffney and up towards Rutherfordton right now. So be aware of that. We still have some damaging winds likely causing some damage showing up across parts of that area there. But here's the good news. Again, for most of the area, most of the storms are clearing off towards the east now, and things are going to be improving as we go throughout this evening. And so I think the severe threat is basically waning at this moment, but size areas around Chesnee where we're seeing some of those damaging winds up there towards Patterson Springs and moving towards Gaffney and Chesnee as well. So one more burst of wind there, and then things hopefully will calm down. But you can see the brunt of the activity moving towards the Charlotte area. This is all in response to this very large storm system swirling over Missouri and Illinois right now, and it's kind of what we call occluded. So it's basically detached from the main steering currents in the atmosphere, so it's just stuck spinning there, and we've basically been on the eastern fringe of that, the southeastern fringe, and you can kind of envision almost a cold front basically, and I'll draw it on here for you just to give you an idea. You know, you could see this, basically this is a front, okay? And so the front is now sweeping on through. So that's what's happening with that line. So behind that front, you're going to see some breezy conditions with those winds picking up out of the south and west. But notice there's no rain back there. There are no storms back there. And that's the area that we're going to move in as we go throughout the rest of this evening and tonight. So once you get past the rain this evening, in the next hour or two, things will be clearing out and we should be looking pretty good here. Just to clarify, I've got a couple more damage reports. There are some reports of some potential damage here on the northern side of downtown Greenville here around East Earl Street. So just wanted to throw that out there. If you're living in the East Earl Street area there, we do have reports of some damage there in that area. So we're going to keep you updated on that. And actually, just getting word in now, looks like we are going to possibly get a new tornado warning at any moment, possibly for Rutherford County again. So we're going to be watching this area to see if anything pops up there, but potentially a new tornado warning coming out for Rutherford County now. So we'll wait and stand by and just before we go off the air just to make sure and see if we get one for that area there. As it looks like that rotation may be trying to wrap up just a little bit more. So we're going to be watching this here very closely as this moves on through here. So I'm going to stop the radar and actually take a look here in Rutherford County to see if we have anything showing up. And you can kind of see that couplet may be trying to wrap back up a little bit. So we're going to see if there's a new tornado warning issued with this here before we go off the air, because it looks like it's trying to wrap back up right around downtown Rutherfordton or just on the northeast side there. So we're going to watch this here very closely here to see what's going on with this sail here as it makes its way towards the north and east here. Again, some very strong winds south of Forest City and Ellenboro heading your way. And it looks like we do have that new tornado warning now just popping up here. So let's see if we get the new stats on that. As again, we were just looking at that storm, that potential tornado warning being issued as it was wrapping up. And sure enough, we've got a new tornado warning that's in effect now here for Rutherford County. And this one goes until 8:15. So right now, the radar is indicating that tornado is located 7 miles northeast of Rutherfordton. So again, just to the north and east of Rutherfordton there. Let me stop this here for you, and we'll switch over to the velocity data. And you can see, again, kind of the area that we're watching very closely here. Again, so about 7 miles northeast of Rutherfordton, and this is lifting off towards the north at 45 miles per hour here. So let's see here. Let me get a little closer view of this here and put a track on this here for you. But right in here. And so folks around Logan and Brindletown area, those are the areas that need to be concerned about this. Again, this is the good news. This is just northeast of Rutherfordton at this moment. But again, this is an area that need to be concerned and definitely watching for very closely here as this lifts out to the north and east. I'll back this up a few frames here, and you can kind of see again, we're talking about how it's trying to wrap back up a little bit more there. So you've got the winds that are coming in toward the radar, going away from the radar, and so that little couplet area there is where that potential rotation is, just to the north and east of downtown Rutherfordton. But this will be lifting north and east, so sunshine over towards, maybe let's say up towards the north, towards 64, basically over towards Logan. Yeah, this could potentially be moving directly over you. At the very least, some strong winds as that rotation continues to kind of move on through the area here. So again, that new tornado warning goes until 8:15, and so we're going to be watching this here for you as that drifts on off towards the north and east here. So again, let's switch over and see if we got any. The good news here, not seeing any major wind shear showing up, but there is some signs of some of that rotation there as we look at that wind shear, basically right there on top of Mount Vernon. So that potentially is where that tornado would be at this moment, would be right over Mount Vernon now, lifting towards Logan. Here, this is right along Highway 64 here as it lifts north and east there. So McFadden Road over towards, let's see here, Hudlow Road, and over towards, again, the south side of Logan. Need to be aware. Again, that potential tornado would be in that area there as well. So we continue to watch what's going on here with that potential rotation, as again, that would basically put it right in here. And I'm going to try to draw this on here for you so you see. So you see that little notch right there. So when we show you this, what we're looking for is that warm, humid, very nice air. This is what thunderstorms feed off of. And basically, when you have that warm, humid air going in on one side, you get the cold downdraft on the other side. So that's where we look for that potential rotation. And so when you see these little hooks or these little couplets right there on the back end of storms, that's where that potential could be for those tornado to touch down at. So that's the area that we're watching closely for you, and we'll continue to keep an eye on that as that lifts on off towards the north and east here. Looks like we've got some new blanket severe thunderstorm warnings. That includes Burke, Caldwell, Catawba over towards Cleveland and Gaston, Lincoln, and also far eastern, northeastern Rutherfordton County as well. But that's a severe thunderstorm warning for that main line, that curl there that's going to be lifting north and east across the area. But of course, the concern obviously is right there along that little comma head there. as it moves through north and east of Rutherfordton there where that potential tornado would be. So that's going to be now on the north side of Logan. So just north of Logan there and lifting off towards the north and east here, that will continue to make its way off as well there. So we continue to watch that as that information continues to come on in here, of course, and we're still seeing some damage reports coming in as well. So that's the good news as well. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on that. So again, we talk about it all the time. Where do you go during a tornado warning? The innermost room of your home, the lowest level. You want to get down into a basement if you have it. If you don't, go into the bathroom, a closet as well. Just get away from the outside walls. Make sure you have something to cover your head with. And also make sure that some people don't think about this, but also today, of course, it's not necessarily a nighttime tornado threat. So that's the good news. But, sometimes you're waking out of bed at night and you forget to put on shoes, something as simple as that during a tornado situation. And the problem is if you have a tornado and you have damage around and then you climb out of that debris, you don't have shoes on, that's a whole nother threat that takes place there and could be life-threatening as well with just not having shoes. So we always say make sure you have footwear on and make sure you have something to cover your head when you go to that tornado safety place there. So that's kind of the deal, and we want you to keep you updated on that. But again, all eyes on that tornado warning that's in effect for Rutherford County there as this continues to make its way off towards the north and east here. And again, you can see the little swirl. It's like a little backward swirl that's taking place all by itself there. And right here on the northern edge of that, where we had that lightning show up a little earlier, that's where that potential tornado is sitting at right now. So that's the area of the greatest concern there. So that's what we're watching for you at this moment. But again, the good news of this is now moving past you in Lake Lure. This is moving past you over towards just to the south there around Boiling Springs. This is now north and east of you. The main concern is north and east of Rutherfordton as well, at least in terms of the tornado threat there. But again, we're going to continue to watch that. Let me just check something here real quick here on another radar product here I got here off screen, and seeing some very, very strong winds. I do want to alert you of this here just to the east of Forest City. So just east of Forest City here, this is just kind of right in this area here, just east of Rutherfordton. But there you see it right in there, just north of that up towards Sunshine right now. We're seeing some very strong winds being indicated there, and that is really making its way really from that area down towards Boiling Springs still in those gusty winds, and the winds seem to be lessening a little bit around Chesney there. But do want to let you know about that. And then as I look a little closer here, again, we're still watching that couplet showing up here north of Rutherfordton now. And what we're going to do is go back over here. So right in here now, just north and west of Logan, that's the area of concern there also. And we'll switch over and you can see, again, that couplet there when the green meets the red, you know what that means, right? So that's the area that we're concerned about. This looks to be now on top of or just to the north of Logan right now as it lifts off towards the north and east there, heading just to the west of Sunshine right now as this moves off towards the north and east there. So that couplet still showing up pretty strong there as it moves basically right along 64. So, someone right around Logan or on 64 there, that's going to be that primary area of concern. And so we're watching that for you very closely. And then, of course, we've got the strong winds just to the south of that. Those winds up to 50, 60 miles per hour are producing damage from north of Chesney, Boiling Springs, over towards areas to the north and east there as well. So that's kind of the latest here. Again, this tornado warning goes until 8:15. So what we want to do right now, I think, is we're going to check back in with Renee here in a moment, and she's going to talk to us more about just some of the reports she's getting as it continues. It seems like reports are coming in now.
They are, Cedric. We're getting some new information from Oconee County Emergency Management right now. We're told they're working with the National Weather Service to figure out exactly what happened, what moved through. No injuries reported. That's some good news tonight. The emergency manager tells us the damage was in such a focused area that they were able to put all their resources to that area very quickly, very efficiently. That area is Highway 28, the Kiowee School Road. You can see there reports of damage on Stone Avenue in Greenville as well. Several trees are down there. A crew is on the way to the scene right now for the very latest to give you a look at what it is happening right there. We've also gotten several reports of damage in Seneca this evening. This photo, again, we're saying you saw it before. We'll show you again just how serious that wind can be when it comes to a roof, when it comes to vehicles on the road, can easily flip cars. Some really serious situation. But again, as of right now, no injuries reported. That is some great news this evening. We're going to think positive. And we also got this photo of a radio tower. It looked like it snapped mapped there. This is also in the Seneca area, we should point out. So let's direct our thoughts, our positive energy to the Seneca area tonight. So as folks are responding, we spoke with the Seneca police chief, and he says they have had a few trees down on power lines near Lindsay Road and Highway 123. Again, if you see a tree down, you certainly don't want to go near it. Could be wrapped in power lines, could be very dangerous. We've also reached out to the sheriff's office for more details. We're waiting on those as they come in. Crews right now, understandably, very busy responding to any potential emergencies. Right now, there are still roughly 1,300 people without power in Pickens County. We do want to send you back to Cedric right now because he is going to have that update when it comes to what the radar is showing, what those models say. And again, the safety messages really is the takeaway tonight, Cedric.
Yeah, that is. And we just want you to be safe. Of course, we're walking you through this line, of course, as this makes its way into the northeastern half of the viewing area now. And you can really see the area that we're most concerned on now, zoned in. And that's this little backwards comma-shaped area here that's moving north and east across the area. And right at the tail end there, or the northern fringe of this comma shape here, I'll draw it on there. You can see that's where that potential for potential tornadoes is, just on the northern side of Rutherfordton there, as we have that rotation kind of coming together. Now, south of that, you've got some very strong winds, and that's why that severe thunderstorm was issued to the north and east of that, because of the fact that we've got winds of 50, 60 miles per hour. I told you we were watching that from Gaffney over towards Chesney and back over towards Boiling Springs, and that indeed is the case there. So that's why we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for that area as well. So let's reset here for you and give you again a good idea of what's going on in your neighborhood, and that way, because I know some of you are watching, you're saying, hey, it's not even raining. Maybe completely clear out there in your neighborhood. So in Asheville, notice the rain, the storm threat now moving to your north and east. You are all clear. That includes you in Waynesville, Brevard, over towards Hendersonville. It's done. So you're good to go for the rest of the evening. Down towards the south here, we'll go in and show you Spartanburg. Things are clear now. All the bad weather moving out of your area, moving out of Tigersville over towards Greenville, Piedmont. So if there's any people out trying to help clear some trees and damage that may be scattered around the area, then things are going to be good to do that for. The weather will cooperate for you folks in Piedmont, Greenville, over towards Pickens, Salem, Clemson, and Seneca as well. We're all quiet there. That stretches back into northeast Georgia. Notice Toccoa over towards Elberton and down towards Hartwell. Everyone is quiet there in northeast Georgia. So the threat, the severe weather threat, is quickly winding down for most of the area. You can see back here across Georgia, again, not much to show you here. In fact, as we put on the wide radar, you can see here again, clear from Atlanta, Birmingham, Montgomery, Nashville. So that's the weather that's going to be moving into the area tonight. And then, of course, just to give you an idea here, we'll put some clouds on here. You can see even the back edge of the clouds there now moving through Atlanta and moving through Knoxville right now. So overall, we'll see some partial clearing as we go throughout later this evening and tonight. So we're talking probably another 20, 30 minutes of this here, and then things are going to be clearing from the area. We're going to be all good and clear, and then we can worry about the cleanup and everything else. But for right now, obviously, we're concerned about that tornado warning that we do have in effect there. So let's go on and take a look at the latest with that here and show you what's going on here again in Rutherford County here. And that's where the tornado warning, as it lifts off towards the north and east. Here's the good news. It's about to clear our area. So as this continues to move off towards the north and east here, and once it gets a little farther out to the north and east here, we'll go ahead on and sound the all clear for our viewing area here in Rutherford County here as this moves on off towards the north and east. But right now, we'll give it a few more minutes here and let it make its clearing there from that. But as we take a look here at what's going on with the wind velocity here, you can see here where that cell is now. And again, it's about to clear the area here north of the Gilkey area here, but a very decent couplet showing up here. This is just north of Westminster over towards Union Mills and over towards Thermal City there area as it lifts off towards the north and east. But that's a pretty hefty couplet. Again, remember, when green meets red, get under the bed. And we hear that all the time, but just to kind of give you an idea where that came from, of course, back in the 60s and 70s, if you remember this, they used to make those iron beds, those very heavy iron beds that were hard to lift and things. And so people used to say, get under those beds because those would kind of help protect you there. Of course, today's beds are not necessarily made with that same materials, but when green meets red, that's the idea right there. We want you to take shelter and be in your safe place because that is not good. That means you've got a twisting of the winds in a very close proximity to each other. When winds are showing up in green, that means the wind is going towards the radar. When they're showing up in red, that means the wind are going away from the radar. And in that little rotation there, that's where you get that potential tornado showing up there. So looks like we got a little gate-to-gate shear showing up right in here as well. So pretty good evidence that there is at least some very strong rotation still in this region as it lifts on off towards the north and east here. But again, looks like things are slowly starting to push north and east again. We'll stick with this for a little bit longer, and then should be clearing our area completely, and then we should be able to really call it an evening. And we can talk about the rest of the weekend, which is looking fantastic once we get past the next hour or two. So again, just to give you an idea, we'll zoom back out here and show you what's going on. For most of the area, the big comma head now lifting north and east. That's the most dangerous part of this storm activity right now, and that is lifting north of Rutherfordton, north of Shelby right now, and moving off towards the east. We'll bring it down here and show you we're still getting some heavier rain from Gaffney over towards Union. About to see some more heavier rainfall stretching in as well here, but nothing severe. The severe threat now pushing towards the east of your area, where we're seeing some gusty winds as well. But most of that activity, again, moving off towards the east. And then again, as we look back to the west, I mean, it is clear as a bone. So again, we just got to get through this last little warning here, and then things should be improving quite a bit across the area here. But again, right now, watching the area here, and the most area that I'm concerned about right across northern Rutherford County. And again, this is going to be the last of it here. And once we clear this little hook right here, that right there, that's where that potential tornado is. So you see it's still in the northern part of the county right there. So that's the area of most concern right now, and that's why we're still watching this here for you, because it's still in part of our viewing area as it crosses over 221 and it moves towards the county line. But it's getting closer to the county line and moving on out. But for our friends in the northern part of the county, you definitely still need to be into your tornado safety place there. That includes you around Union Mills and over towards the east of Thermal City. This is primarily just to your east, but still you'll want to be in your safe place there as that potential area of rotation continues to lift on off towards the north and east here. Just checking over some of the stats here coming in. Not seeing any damage reports as of yet right now from Rutherford County, but let's see, getting some just more information about more of those large trees down on Earl Street, East Earl Street here in Greenville as well, and seeing some more activity here showing up as well. But for the most part, the good news is we're not seeing any major damage reports coming in yet out of the area there, but we'll continue to watch that coming on through there. So we're watching again. If you can safely give us any reports there from Rutherford County, let's say if you're in Rutherfordton and the storm is to your north now, you can safely give us some updates to let us know what you saw in your area. That would be great as well, and helpful for us to kind of see what's going on within this storm. But again, the good news is it is beginning to make its way on off towards the north and east there. So in fact, there you see it now, crossing over the county line there. So that is some great news. And that couplet now going up towards Vane Mountain and towards the north and east. So it is crossing over the county line as we speak. So what we'll do, we'll try this again. We tried it before and we had a new tornado warning. So we'll try it again. We'll go back to Renee, see if we can get some updates on any of the latest with some of the storm reports and just what's going on around the area. And then we'll bring it back and wrap it up here with the weather coverage.
We are thinking positive, Cedric, but we're also realists here. So if we do need to continue, we are prepared. But again, let's hope that the worst is behind us. We are getting some new information from Oconee County Management tonight. We're told they are working with the National Weather Service to figure out what moved through. Again, the details are still coming in. We'll bring you those updates as we learn them. The great takeaway so far, no injuries reported. We always love to hear that, and we hope that continues. The emergency manager tells us the damage was in such a focused area in Seneca that they were able to put all of their resources there so they could attend to it quickly. You can see that overturned car. You see those reflective vests, emergency responders making sure everyone is okay. The area you're looking at is Highway 28 near the Kiowee School Road. We also have reports of damage on Stone Avenue in Greenville. Several trees still down there. A crew of ours is on the way so you can get a better look at what that scene looks like. Of course, safety is key. We've said it once, we'll say it again, and we'll keep saying it all night. Be safe if you do see damage. And right now there are roughly 1,300 people continuing to be without power tonight in Pickens County. We want to go to Cedric for a hopeful wrap-up. We are thinking positively. Cedric, what are the models showing? How much longer may we need to kind of stay glued to our screens?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is the good news, Renee. Here's, take a look at Live Super Doppler 4 HD. We've got the impact mode showing up here, and you can see it's in impact mode now again instead of alert mode because most of the activity now, the severe threat is done for the area now. All the big storms are now pushing to the north and east, so that's great news. And notice there's nothing back to the west here. So just to give you an idea, though, for our friends in Rutherford County and off towards the north of Rutherford, you can see the tornado warning part of that storm just crossed the county line and pushing off to our north and east, so it's no longer in our viewing area. So that's why we're going to sound the all clear now. You guys were the last to see the big severe weather threat there, and you can see off towards the east now. Most of that is pushing on off towards the east as well. Spartanburg, you're clearing out as well. We've got some heavy rain and some downpours showing up around West Springs and over towards Lawrence and Clinton. And then notice up towards Greenville, Spartanburg, Travelers Rest, we're seeing, again, clearing conditions here. So things are improving quite a bit across the area. So if you have any evening plans now, it's safe to do that. You could go on out and do that evening plan activity now, and you can see this system is moving on off towards the north and east here. So that's the good news. So as we look at future radar and clouds here, we'll just kind of walk you through a little bit of a forecast, and you'll see, again, the storms now continue to make their way out. There's nothing behind that. Maybe a spotty rain shower or something overnight as the actual cold front moves through. But for the most part, we are done for the rest of the evening. And tomorrow morning, we may start off with a few morning clouds. But notice in the afternoon, we're going to break out into some sunshine. It's going to be breezy, but we're going to have some very warm southerly winds kicking in. And that's going to allow for those temperatures to climb into the upper 70s. It's going to be a fantastic day tomorrow. And the humidity will be a little lower. So it'll be nice to get out there and enjoy it. And here's the best part of all of this. If you got some good rain today, which most of us did, hopefully that will be just enough to lower the pollen levels just a little bit. So maybe you can enjoy this nice day, at least for one day before it starts to rise again across the area there. But that's the good news. As we look outside, we still have some clouds. I think the clearing will start to work its way through. Let's say about 9, 10 o'clock, we'll start to see some partial clearing, and then things should improve greatly as we go throughout the rest of the overnight hours. Temperatures, 50s and low 60s. So it is cool out there this evening, but hey, it'll be pleasant overall once the rain gets out of here completely. So tonight we'll have those storms. They're coming to an end now. Partial clearing. Could see a little patchy dense fog though late overnight with temperatures dropping into the 50s. And then as we go into your Sunday, we'll have some morning clouds, but then that sunshine breaks out again, breezy and warm through the day while highs climbing into the 70s. It's going to be fairly nice. But I do want to tell you about this here. We've got, I've been looking at the data and the long range data, and it continues to indicate the potential of below normal temperatures returning, another significant cool down returning to the area. Right now, we've got this pegged around April the 18th through the 24th. So I know everybody's eager to get out there and plant all the spring stuff, but listen, just be aware. There are some signs that some cold air may try to make at least one more run to us here as we get towards the middle and latter half of the month. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully nothing record-breaking like what we saw last weekend, but again, just throwing that out there. But I wanted to show you the 4-day plus because we didn't get to do that at 6 o'clock, and you'll see once we get past some morning clouds tomorrow, we're in the upper 70s for highs, sunny and breezy across the area. And then as we go into the next week, nice and mild and quiet. So no storm threats, no severe weather threats as we go through next week. But look at the temperatures. They start to cool down a little bit there, both in the upstate and in the mountains. And that could be the signs of more and more cooler air heading our way the following weekend and the following week. So that's something that we'll be fine-tuning for you as well. Hey, folks, I just want to thank you for sticking with us here through the stormy weather and all the severe weather that we've had across the area. Of course, we're going to be working overtime to make sure that we get the latest information on any damage in your neighborhood or anything like that. So if you could safely do so, let us know. Send us some pictures, videos, or just let us know what's going on in your area if you have some damage, and we will be definitely talking about that for you and have much more on all of this weather information here for you coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. We'll have a full breakdown there. Renee will be back. Our newsroom will be working hard to get you all the information. We want to thank you for sticking with us throughout this evening through the storm coverage. Hopefully you're able to be safe, and we'll continue to keep you updated. If any news breaks, we'll be right here to let you know.